Sometimes the most everyday things, they hold these incredibly rich stories. Take just naming someone. We're diving into this fascinating list today. 100 masculine names, all starting with A.
Just one letter.
Exactly. One letter, but it unlocks this whole universe of origins, meanings. It's quite something.
It really is.
So our mission here for this deep dive, basically explore this little alphabetical corner, see what patterns pop up, uncover maybe some surprising links, and perhaps find a few names you haven't even heard before.
Right.
It's kind of your shortcut to understanding the depth and variety just packed into that single initial.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's unpack this. What jumps out right away?
Well, the first thing that's really striking, I think, is just the sheer diversity of the roots in this collection.
Yeah.
I mean, right off the bat, you've got Hebrew, Latin, German, Celtic, English, Greek,
Wow,
Scandinavian, Spanish, Irish, Old English, Old German, French, Turkish, Sanskrit, even Danish.
that's incredible.
It's not just, a random list. It feels more like a linguistic map.
How so?
Well, it shows how interconnected naming traditions have become, across different cultures, different centuries. It really highlights the etymology, the history of these words.
How they traveled.
Exactly, how they moved across languages.
Absolutely. And then when you start looking at what these names actually mean, certain themes they really stand out, don't they?
Like what?
One that really grabbed me was the number linked to strength and nobility.
Okay.
You've got Aaron, meaning high mountain, exalted. Then Adelaide, noble kind. Albert is noble, bright.
You're right.
Abelard, noble strength. Eric means all ruler.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like a little window into the values of, past eras.
That's a great point. It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah, what was important to those societies.
Exactly. And this prevalence of names meaning ruler or strong, well, it might reflect those hierarchical social structures back then.
Or maybe just hopes parents had.
Or perhaps the hopes parents held for their sons in, well, let's face it, a less stable world.
Makes sense.
And this emphasis, it just keeps going. You see August, meaning great, venerable.
Right, Austin too, right? Similar meaning.
Yeah, Austin, great, majestic. Then there's Arnold, eagle ruler. Arthur, linked to bear.
Arthur, okay.
Andrew means manly, brave.
Yeah.
Even Armando, which is soldier.
Huh. So what does that really tell us about the mindset back then around naming?
It paints a pretty clear picture, doesn't it?
It really does. And it's not just abstract ideas either. There's this tangible connection to the natural world, to places.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like Aiden, meaning earth man. Aiden is little fire. Ashford and Ashton, they both seem to connect to ash trees.
Right, Ford by the ash tree and Ash Tree Town.
And Arvid, Eagle Tree, Ayrton, Eagletown.
Then you get Arden, which is interesting. It means great forest, but also high, elevated.
Two meanings.
Okay. And Arlo, hill, fortified, Axton, swordstone. It's just fascinating how the environment itself shaped the identities people carried.
So if we kind of connect that to the bigger picture, what's the takeaway there?
Well, connecting it up, I think it reveals how deeply rooted human identity is, or at least was in our surroundings.
Right.
And the natural forces we saw around us, these names, they weren't just picked out of thin air.
No, clearly not.
They often reflected that connection to the land or maybe important geographical features, even natural events that held cultural weight.
Yeah.
It really underscores our ancient ties to the natural world.
Then there's another really interesting group. Names with spiritual or divine connections.
Yeah. That's a big one, too.
You've got Abraham, meaning father of many, obviously a huge figure in several religions.
Foundational.
Angelo, the angel, messenger.
Hmm.
Apollo. Now, this one's interesting. Initially destroyer, then linked to the god of music and the sun.
Yeah, that's quite a shift.
Asher, meaning happy, blessed. And then Azrael, the angel of death, and Adriel, flock of God. Quite a range, isn't it? From benevolent to...
Less so, yeah. What's significant there, I think, is the interplay you see between different belief systems.
And how they influence names.
Exactly. Their influence on naming practices. And you see more, too, like Anselm, meaning God's helmet. Azrael, God is my help.
Oh, wow.
And Amadeo and Amadeus, both meaning lover of God. It really underscores this whole spiritual dimension.
Yeah.
It highlights how faith has been, well, a cornerstone of personal identity across so many cultures.
One little linguistic puzzle I noticed. The reappearance of defender of the people.
Ah,
Yes, we see it with Alec, then Alistair, and then Alec again. It's like a mini theme just within the A's.
that's a fascinating spot. And it's interesting, isn't it, why that particular meaning might have been so, well, prevalent across different cultures.
Yeah, what do you think?
Well, the fact that Defender of the People shows up in both Greek with Alec and Scottish Gaelic with Alistair, it can showcases this enduring human desire for, protection, leadership.
Manifesting differently, though.
Exactly, manifesting in different cultural contexts, each with its own linguistic twists.
Does the fact it's in Greek and Gaelic suggest anything? Like connections or similar societies?
It could. Or perhaps just a universal need for a strong protector figure that really resonated across diverse societies, independently.
Interesting. And speaking of journeys, it's also interesting how some names seem to have evolved in their meanings.
Like Apollo.
Yeah, Apollo, like we said, initially destroyer. That's not exactly the first thing you think of with music and the sun.
No, definitely not.
Makes you wonder about the stories, the myths that shifted those perceptions over time.
Exactly right. Language is dynamic, Meanings can evolve as cultural understanding shifts.
So the first meaning might be tied to one story.
Right, tied to a specific myth or maybe a historical context that later broadened out or took on new layers of interpretation as the name got more popular.
And associated with different aspects of the figure.
Precisely. It just highlights how fluid language really is.
It's also striking how you see similar meanings popping up in totally different languages.
Yeah.
We've got several names implying greatness or nobility across Germanic roots, Latin roots, even Sanskrit roots like Aryan meaning noble.
Right.
And then you have variations like Abram and Abraham or Anton, Anthony, and
all variations on a theme.
Yeah, all pointing back to a similar core meaning, but with like different linguistic flavors. What's that tell us about shared human values, maybe?
Well, I think that phenomenon really speaks to universal human aspirations, universal values.
Like wanting greatness for your child.
Exactly. That desire to give a name with connotations of greatness or nobility, it's just a recurring theme across so many diverse cultures.
And the slight differences in spelling.
Oh, the slight variations in spelling pronunciation, that's just the natural result of these core ideas being adopted and, adapted into different phonetic systems. It's like different languages finding their own unique way to express very similar ideals.
Then you get the real outliers, the names that make you kind of pause and go, huh.
Like what?
Ace, meaning one, unity. Short, punchy, a bit unexpected maybe.
Yeah, different vibe.
Abyssal, meaning deep, unfathomable. Wow, that's quite a weighty name to carry.
That is intense, yeah.
And Anakin, simply warrior. These feel like they have specific stories or cultural contexts that aren't immediately obvious.
Yeah, those unique entries, they often reflect specific cultural trends, maybe literary influences.
Or even made-up names.
Or even neologisms, newly coined words or names,
Right.
exactly. Ace, for example, probably got popular because of its association with being, number one, the best.
Same.
Abyssal, well, it's less common as a given name, but it definitely evokes that sense of mystery, depth. And Anakin, okay, maybe strongly linked to pop culture now.
Hard to ignore.
Very hard to ignore. But it still has roots connecting back to that fundamental idea of a warrior. They kind of offer a glimpse into more individual or perhaps more recent naming trends.
And it's hard not to notice how many names just seem to show up multiple times on this list.
Oh, yeah, the repetitions.
We see Alec popping up again, Aiden, Alvin, Alden, Ashton, Archer. I mean, the list goes on.
It does.
Is that just popularity or is there more going on there?
It's often, I think, a combination of things. Popularity across different times and places, that definitely plays a big role.
Okay.
But it can also point to different linguistic roots that have sort of converged in spelling over time.
Interesting. Like different origins ending up looking the same.
Exactly. For instance, Aiden and Aiden, both Irish, both meaning little fire, right?
Yeah.
But they might have slightly different historical paths of adoption into English. Similarly, Alvin shows up with both English and Old English origins.
Both meaning elf friend.
Both meaning elf friend, yeah. Which suggests maybe parallel but distinct developments. It's just a reminder of the really layered history within our pool of names.
So going beyond just knowing what a name means, understanding these origins, it really opens up a window, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Into history, culture, even migration patterns.
Absolutely.
Maybe. If you're someone, say, picking a name for a child, This kind of insight could add this whole new layer of meaning to that decision.
Oh, for sure.
Or even if you're just, curious about language,
Mm-hmm.
it's a fascinating way to see how even proper nouns, carry so much baggage.
In a good way.
Precisely. Understanding the etymology of names can offer a much deeper appreciation for cultural heritage.
And how languages connect.
And the interconnectedness of languages, yeah. It lets you see how these seemingly simple labels are actually just packed with historical cultural significance, reflecting the values, the beliefs, the experiences of past generations. Ultimately, this whole exploration of just names, it reveals that a name isn't just a label, is it?
It's like a miniature history book, silently telling tales of migration, belief systems, and those enduring values of humanity.
So to sort of wrap it all up, this deep dive into just the masculine A names, it really shows a surprisingly rich tapestry.
It really does.
We've seen names coming from, well, a multitude of origins, echoing themes like strength, nobility, nature, spirituality.
And those unique ones, too.
And even a few that stand out as wonderfully unique. It's really a testament to the fact that even within a single letter, there's this vast landscape of history and meaning just waiting to be explored.
Indeed. And considering all these diverse origins and meanings, does it change how you perceive names now?
That's a good question.
And maybe what other linguistic rabbit holes might be hiding right there in plain sight, just waiting for us to take a closer look?
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? And this is just, scratching the surface.
Oh, completely.
The study of names itself, what's it called? Onomastics?
Onomastics, yeah.
It's a whole field.
Oh.
Full of even more intricate connections, more fascinating stories.
Absolutely. Definitely something to dig into if your curiosity has been piqued by all this.